Hey guys, it is Nick here with another Nick's Topics Dragon Ball What If topic video for today. And today, we are getting into part 10 of What If Giran became Z-Fighter. Now to recap the last episode, last time, 17, 16, and 18 were all awakened earlier than before because the Z-Fighters had fought 19 and Giran in a different place and gave the group a run for their money, forcing them to retreat to Kami's lookout for a plan. While everyone trained in the hyperbolic time chamber, Piccolo also fused with Kami, because unlike my What If Hercule was a Z-Fighter story, Piccolo and Kami have been separate all along. King Piccolo was never sealed away. So, that means that Piccolo fuses with Kami like before. Dende still becomes the Guardian of Earth, but since Goku never learned instant transmission and never went to Yardrat, it is done in a much different fashion than before. But the androids, with the help of future Giran, are defeated rather swiftly, and the android/cell saga ends before it truly became a threat like before. And with that, future Giran bids the group adieu and returns to his timeline, where future Tien, along with a bunch of survivors, and future Gohan and Piccolo are all still alive. And surprisingly, the three warriors have been training quite effectively underground in a huge bunker and saved quite a good number of people. So they haven't been slacking off. They know what they're training for and everything else. So with that and future Giran's training, the future androids in Cell are destroyed. But that's a story for another time. As for Imperfect Cell, since there was a future timeline, you might ask, if you didn't watch the last episode, while the others were fighting the androids, Piccolo combated Imperfect Cell like he did before. But since he knows that the androids were going to be destroyed by the group anyway, after interrogating Cell, he actually destroys him. So, no Cell. And as for the Cell bunker, there's going to be no present Cell this time because future Giran is there. So I believe that he would know after, Kami showing his thoughts before he fused with Piccolo and Piccolo giving, opinions and facts about what happened with Cell and everything and what he got out of him. So, no present Cell this time. Although it wasn't really a big reveal before anyway. As for Goku and Gohan, they did get a hint of Super Saiyan 2 and the hyperbolic time chamber, but over the time skip going into the Buu arc, they actually master and use the power efficiently since Goku did not die here. And as for Giran and all the other Z-Fighters, they master the Kaioken and all their other powers quite effectively, with Giran, besides Piccolo, being the most effective members of the group. I say Piccolo because besides Goku, Gohan, and Giran, Piccolo's the next strongest type person. Because remember, Vegeta's dead. So, anyways, with everyone having good peacetime and good training time, we get into the events of the 25th World Martial Arts Tournament happening and the introduction to the Supreme Kai and Kibito. Now, as for the junior division, Goten is stillborn. I'm sorry if I did not mention that, but he is stillborn, and he defeats Trunks in the junior division along with taking the win over Hercule. I say he defeats Trunks because remember, Trunks is born as an Earthling and not a Saiyan, so Goten would get the win a lot more simply. As for the first match, I believe that Yamcha would take the place of Pintar and fight Krillin in the first match, with Krillin ultimately getting the victory. Now, Piccolo and the Supreme Kai would pretty much have the same interaction, and the match would go, I say match, the whole scene would go pretty much the same. Nothing would really differ there. And as for Gohan and Videl, Gohan, I believe, would still train Videl to a much better degree than she got in the original story, but she's not going to get anywhere near as strong as she did in my other story, getting Ultra Instinct and stuff. That is mainly because Gohan and Videl knew each other since they were kids in that story, but here they're just meeting. So Videl does still take the win over Spopovich, but she still has to put in a decent amount of effort, but she's nowhere nearly as badly injured as she was in the original story. That had to be one of the most gruesome scenes that I have ever seen in a Dragon Ball episode ever. Just pointing that out there. So, with Spopovich defeated, that's a small change to the story, but then we get to the scene with Gohan getting his energy stolen by Yamu and Spopovich, and that goes pretty normally. Nothing really differs there, besides Gohan maybe being like a tad bit stronger, so Babidi gets a little bit extra energy, nothing too major. But then we get to the scene of everyone hiding in the mountains and getting the revelation of Babidi, Majin Buu, and Deborah. Well, Majin Buu having to be, Majin Buu not being relevant at the moment, but his, presence is, yeah, you guys get what I mean. Anyways, the whole scene with Spopovich and Yamu getting killed, and Kibito getting killed by Deborah, all still happens per normal. But just before Deborah is about to turn his spit to the other warriors, especially Krillin, the weaker ones, Giran then powers up to his maximum and delivers a very much so enhanced version of his merry-go-round gum. Also eager to see what this supposed Demon King can do, vowing to show him what a true reptile can do. Now, you would think that this would hold the Demon King, with how strong that Giran has gotten, pretty much being next in line with Goku and Gohan. But not so. This ultimately does stun the Demon King for a moment, but it is nothing as what he has in store. He then uses his signature move, the spit technique, and turns the gum on him to stone. He then full power punches the gum and breaks it, with all the gum shattering into pieces on the ground. Now, how would Deborah not get turned into spit by his own move? Why would he risk this? Well, that's a very good point, and I actually had thought about that a little bit. But then, I remembered to a certain scene in a fan-favorite video game of Dragon Ball, Xenoverse 2. Now, I know I'm kind of pulling this out there, but think about this for a second. In Xenoverse 2, we were witness to see Deborah hit by his own spit move by Few in the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 story mode. And we saw him get hit by it, but in the recent story mode that we have gotten a few months ago, we actually saw him break out of the spit. Granted, it took a good amount of time. Well, time like in the real world, but as for time in Dragon Ball, it could have only just been recent. But still, it's noted that he doesn't really get affected by his own moves, so I think that him breaking out or not getting affected by his own spit would be logical here. Afterwards, the Supreme Kai, noting that Deborah is indeed a dangerous foe, tells the group that they need to go all out on him right now. So, everyone in the group pretty much tag teams Deborah, and he is toast. With everyone ganging up on him and not just Hercule or someone singular, Deborah has absolutely no chance of counterattacking, especially after having to get out of a very tough gum hold from Giran. Afterwards, the group descends down into Babidi's ship, where the likes of Pui Pui, Yakon, and all the other Babidi mooks are easily picked off, with Supreme Kai noting that since the boar is done, Babidi can't possibly win here now. Now, you would think that Babidi would be able to mind control someone, but there's not really anyone that he can mind control, because no one's really evil here. So the group is able to find him, kill him, and the threat of Babidi and Majin Buu is easily dealt with. As for Majin Buu's ball, well, that is taken by the Supreme Kai and Kibito, like before, and he says that he'll deal with it. He's not going to reveal Lord Beerus yet, because he knows that the group is not ready for that yet, but he thinks that they'll be able to deal with it when the time comes. Afterwards, Shenron is summoned, and anyone that possibly lost their lives, like the people that we saw by Babidi's ship that were dead, they're resurrected, and anybody else that possibly might have died is revived, and the Babidi arc pretty much is over, because there was no Majin Buu, so we can't really call it a Majin Buu arc. Now, as for Super Saiyan 3, I do still feel that Goku would unlock it. People say that he wouldn't unlock it if he wasn't in the other world, but the fact is, I think that he would still be able to unlock it. It would just be harder because of the stamina drain. But with other people, especially Giran around, I feel that him getting the transformation wouldn't be too far-fetched. So, he still gets Super Saiyan 3 before the Beerus arc. And as for Giran, he still remains pretty much one of the best fighters in the universe and on Earth. So him and Goku train regularly, and peacetime ensues, with no Majin Buu to have to worry about. But there is something we will have to worry about soon. The introduction to a certain god of destruction and his attendant. That's where we leave things for the moment. So, what did you guys think about this episode? Do you like the way that this saga turned out? Or do you think that having Majin Buu in it would have mattered more, seeing Majin Buu somehow absorb Giran or something? Either or, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed the What If Giran Became a Z Fighter series as a whole, and I will see you guys in the next episode.